Hello, all you lovely people out there, all you coffee snobs, all you coffee enthusiasts. I, Limitless, wholeheartedly welcome you to another coffee tasting episode. And if you haven't noticed, the very first coffee tasting episode in my very own studio. Yeah, guys, I finally moved to my very personal studio. If you haven't watched the cinematic studio tour, I would highly recommend you guys that by the end of this video, do watch that cinematic studio tour because it is one hell of a cinematic piece that you're gonna enjoy. And now, coming to today's coffee, let's talk about today's coffee, what we're gonna taste today. So, talking about today's coffee, let me just give you a small background story in order to give you a small context. So, a few months ago, I just released a coffee tasting episode and I read a comment that somebody talked about this coffee and said that it's a limited edition. And then I didn't thought much about it, but then later I regretted that maybe I should have bought that coffee, and I was like, well, maybe it had gone out of stock, but I didn't look for it online. And then I was roaming in Khan Market and I went to Blue Tokai, my favorite coffee roasters, of course, and I then had some coffee, and then I looked in the showcase area, and then I found, wow, this coffee by the name of Blue Tokai birthday blend was in the showcase right there. And I was like, well, this is a really special coffee because Blue Tokai released this coffee specially on their 8th birthday around this new year, and I was like, I should taste this coffee because it is one hell of a special coffee, because in this blend they have got coffee from Riverdale Estate, Ratnagiri Estate and Hoysala Estate. So probably a blend of 3 estates is going to be something really nice, something full of nice prominent flavors, maybe a complete mixture of a kind of coffee, I would say, which is all around the place, which is meant for all kind of people. So I said maybe I should give it a try, and today we're gonna taste this coffee and see what kind of taste I'm gonna extract out of it. Although it says that you're gonna get some flavor notes of dark chocolate, blueberry and some hazelnut, but I want to see for myself what kind of taste I'm going to get out of this coffee, because it is preferably in all the scenarios that I have got a little bit more notes when I have tasted that coffee for myself. So let's do that, guys. Let's make a nice cup of pour over out of Chemex and taste it. Okay guys, so here is a nice cup of pour over straight out of Chemex, and it looks good. Basically it looks black, that's all, nothing to just elaborate about it. But now let's see what kind of aroma I might get out of this cup of coffee, and then we'll go into the tasting notes. So let's do that first, okay? Well, I would say that in case of aroma, my nose is not that good that it might get straight aroma out of coffee or anything, because I'm not that kind of a snob that I'll get even subtle aromas out of coffee. And even at this time of season when it's getting very hot, I have just added a very little bit of coffee because I don't like some harsh coffee, and maybe I'll switch to some cold brew as the season gets much more warmer. So yep, I'm not getting any kind of prominent aroma, but a little bit of chocolatey note, which is very general in my perspective. So I won't just go much deeper into aroma. Let's just simply taste it and see what kind of taste we might get out of it. Okay, so the very first sip. So guys, the thing that I'm noticing straight out is that there is a prominent flavor of a berry, and I don't know if it's straightly prominent blueberry or something else, because there is a mixed flavor of berry and some kind of nice ripe cherry in it. But since the cup is really hot and you just can't figure out straight out of hot cup, so let's just cool it a little bit, because I've always noticed as the cup cools down a little bit, you get those, prominent flavors, or I would say the flavors get simply much more prominent. So I always recommend this in my videos, that please just allow the coffee to cool down, because after that you can see what kind of flavor you can get out of coffee. So just do that, keep that in mind. Okay guys. See, the very first thing that I would say, that before this coffee I was drinking Zeronium Peak, and that was one hell of a coffee. I would definitely review it as well in this channel, so stay tuned for that as well. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. But in comparison to that coffee, I would say the very first impression that I'm getting is that it's a little bit similar to that, and I would say that some coffees like Monsoon Malabar or some other spicy or acidic coffees, it's nothing like that. It is a little bit tending towards fruitiness, and at the same time there is somewhat of chocolatiness, but not so much acidic or so much spicy that it just completely attacks your palate. It is nice and soothing on your palate, that you can just just enjoy a sip like this. Just keep the coffee on your palate for a while and just enjoy the flavor of the coffee, because I'm a kind of person who believes that if you're drinking a coffee, you should go for a specialty coffee, because what specialty coffee provides you is a kind of experience that you can just enjoy some nice music, because especially I enjoy the music of pianists like Oliver Nard and one other, I just forgot his name, because along with that music I just enjoy the coffee for hours, literally for hour or hour and a half, and I just completely go into complete different world, and I just relax for a while, especially after lunchtime. So it's a really good mood that I go into. And sometimes when I'm filming, I just have to sacrifice that time because I have to film for coffee tasting, of course. So otherwise, that's the point, guys, that you have to allow that coffee to just develop its taste. So it takes some time. So for that, I would say that just relax a bit, sit back and just let it cool. And if some specialty coffees are nice, soothing, fruity in their flavors, so they would give you a much nice experience, unless you are a kind of a person who just enjoys their coffee very harsh. But I'm not saying for everyone. So let's take another sip and go deep down into the flavors, what kind of flavors I'm making. See, one thing is for sure, it is very prominent that blueberry is there. Maybe a little bit of cherry is just underlining the flavor, but at the same time there is this what I would say as a kind of wheat flavor is also emerging at the same time. At the back of your palate, when the coffee stays a little bit for a while, at that point you will feel that a certain kind of flavor of wheat is developing on your palate. And there is something more that I have to define. It is a kind of a fruity flavor that I'm feeling on my, I would say, on my palate, but I'm not able to attach it or define it in a certain specific manner. But give me time, allow me, and I would definitely present a proper picture of what that kind of taste you could attach to certain specific things. So let's just go deeper. Okay, I would say some green apples. If you have tasted some green apples, that is the very specific kind of taste that you would get once this coffee is has reached a point where it has cooled a little bit, you would get that green apple taste and that wheat taste that I was talking about before. That is actually what eventually transforms into some dark chocolatey taste. So it is very, I would say, a kind of coffee that eventually progresses and develops different kind of flavors into something different, and that's really nice, because some coffees are which are very uniform in their flavors, but some coffees are that which gradually progress into different kind of flavors, and that kind of experience I'm getting in this coffee. Maybe because it is a blend of three estates, so you are getting a really nice blended mixture and combination. And when I was looking at the coffee beans, they were also not very uniform in their texture and in their structure. They were very different, and that was bringing the diversity of the beans. So maybe that's the whole taste which eventually transforms and becomes something else after a while. So yeah, it's good. It's good for the palate to enjoy all a spectrum of good flavors, from some fruity to chocolatey notes and a little bit of wheat in that. So that is something really good, and I would highly recommend this kind of coffee to anybody who is into some fruity and chocolatey flavors. Because honestly, I haven't tasted some hazelnut, but for sure maybe some of you might just figure it out for yourself, because I'm not some kind of expert and taste is completely subjective. Some people find some kind of specific flavor notes, some people find some kind of specific flavor notes, and maybe you might find some roasted hazelnuts. Who knows? But one thing I'm very sure of, that this coffee has something really prominent about it, that you can enjoy the whole experience of this coffee and you will be completely lost into a different dimension. So if you are into that kind of flavors, I would highly recommend you guys that you should go for this kind of coffee. It's really something that you are going to enjoy. And even at the same time, the specialty of this coffee is that it is a limited edition, which is a kind of celebration of being in the fraternity of Blue Tokai. So if you're a Blue Tokai fanboy or a fangirl, for sure go for this coffee. You are definitely gonna enjoy this coffee. A real nice blend from three estates, which is a real good thing. So yeah, go on their website. Let me just give it a check on internet. It's for sure. Yeah, on their store it is available. I would say, as you can see, that you can go and purchase there. So the link is down in description below. Make haste, guys. It is a limited edition thing. Just buy it before it runs out of stock. So that's a really good thing, I would say. And yeah, enjoy this coffee. If you enjoyed this video itself, I would say hit the like button, and for more coffee tasting episodes, some photography content and maybe travel content is coming very soon. Smash the subscribe button, hit that bell icon in order to stay notified. I'll see you in the next coffee tasting episode, or maybe some street photography stuff. Till then, stay caffeinated, enjoy yourself.